I guess I am recording. Welcome to yet another episode of Nerds with Badges. It is March the 1st, 2025, and I just got here at work. I'm a little late. I usually try to get here before 9, but I made a stop to 7-Eleven. Um, I wanted to get me a cup of coffee so I could get my energy levels up. I'm just like really sleepy today. I didn't get to sleep until really late this morning. I think it was about 7. I hooked my PlayStation 3 up, and I was trying to see if I could get it to work, if I could do some recordings. I ran into a bunch of issues. I had it initially hooked up to a one of those what do you call the cables, the you have to use back in the old days when you had the red, the yellow, and the white cables, instead of now everything is HDMI. So I have a converter that converts the regular, I guess, the cables, the old cables, into a HDMI, but for some reason that wasn't working. And that device is powered by a USB thing. Anyway, so I had to troubleshoot. I probably spent maybe, I probably spent about an hour and a half, maybe longer than that, just trying to figure out how, because one splitter didn't seem to be working. So I ended up having the same issue later with my Nintendo Switch, but I ended up having to hook the my PlayStation 3 up to my big screen TV, which has my Xbox Series S and my Wii U and my HD DVD Blu-ray player hooked up. And surprisingly, I hooked it up actually to the splitter game recorder device that my Xbox Series S is hooked up to, and the PlayStation 3 actually worked. I was really shocked. So that means, like, because that thing records at 1080, so I'm getting, like, pretty decent quality recordings from my Series S. Sometimes I think there is a little, when you have a splitter, when the signal is going into something else and it's going to your TV, sometimes there's a degrade in quality. Uh, so anyway, I hooked the PlayStation 3 up. I finally got it to actually register with my recording devices because it wasn't working on the other one. Um, so I ended up playing a couple of different games. I thought I had more games on my PlayStation 3, but I think I bought more discs because I don't think that I don't think digital had really quite taken off in the PlayStation 3. I mean, I think people are still mostly buying their games on discs, whereas now it's the opposite. Everybody's buying stuff digitally. So I was pleasantly surprised that I had. It's a game I used to love playing. It came out by Electronic Arts called uh, Future Cop LAPD. Um, and you're like this robot kind of, I guess, like kind of like a RoboCop, kind of more like a transformer, because this guy actually can transform into a car. It's pretty good animation, actually. I mean, the graphics are pretty cool, like the explosions and everything. So I ended up playing that. I think I played that for about maybe an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. And man, I tell you, I don't think they really believed in save points, uh, because man, I remember getting like right to the very end of a level, and then I had to fight the boss, and then when I got out, I had to play through the whole level again to get right back up to the boss. So I was like, okay, man, we really have come a long way since that game. I think that game came out. It must have been around 97 or 98, because I had that game actually on my PlayStation 1. That's an original PlayStation 1 game. So I played that game. Now I remember when the PlayStation 3 first came out, it was backwards compatible with the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 1, but there were certain models that wouldn't play the PlayStation 2 games. Um, and I remember there was issues with the PlayStation 2 not playing some of the PlayStation 1 games. Um, so the PlayStation 3 Fat, that's the one that is backwards compatible. And I think someone recently gave me a PlayStation 3 Fat, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, one of my coworkers who's no longer working here gave me she gave me a Dreamcast and a PlayStation 3 Fat, and I dropped the PlayStation 3 Fat. I got the red hanging from here somewhere. I got I dropped the PlayStation 3 Fat. I mean, no, it was the Dreamcast I dropped, so I'm gonna have to get that repaired because the night I got it, I was going up the stairs with it in the bag, and it just bam. So I have another Dreamcast that works fine. Just haven't hooked the damn thing up in years. So I collect the old consoles. I would like to one day just have like a room where I have like all my consoles just set up, and I don't know, maybe have them, like set up so um, if I want to play the OG Xbox, I can just turn it on and it'll just be connected to a series of wires and hopefully won't be a fire hazard. That would be really cool to have that in either in an apartment or a house, because I don't really know. I don't know if I'm gonna stay in my apartment. Like, I mean, it might be a good idea to keep that apartment actually, since I've been living in it since I've been living in my apartment. I've been living in my apartment since '97. I moved in January '97, so I've been living in my apartment building for like 28 years. I cannot believe it's been that long. Um, but man, yeah, so I definitely need to get more space. So if I do decide to move into a bigger space, I will probably still keep that apartment just because the rent is so cheap and my utilities are included. Um, but yeah, I've gotten to the point now where I need to get some space. I need to start putting stuff in storage. So that's gonna definitely happen this month. I got a lot of stuff I need to do in my apartment. I need to move out my bed, get a new bed. I gotta throw out some stuff. So that's gonna be another big adventure for me. The last one was getting my new laptop, which is not this one. This is my old MSI, my trusted buddy. I think I've had this thing for about 6 years, and it still works fine. I mean, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles to play the newer games, the newer AAA games at really great settings. But I mean, it can't do like ray tracing or anything like that. But I can play Resident Evil 4 with no problem. Um, I can play Callisto Protocol. I mean, it runs pretty good as I have to tweak the settings. But like many games, you can, the cool thing about PCs is you can mess around with the settings. But a lot of games are optimized. Um, I don't know if they're using magic. They stole alien technology, or they went into the future and brought back something. But some developers are able to optimize their games to run, and some just. Uh, but that's a whole nother conversation. So I was thinking about going to this Collecticon thing, but I couldn't really do that. I actually thought I'd taken the time off of work, so that was a big part of the reason why. When I found out I didn't, I'm not going to try to go to an event and then try to run home and get sleep before I go to work. So I would prefer to have the days off, and plus the tickets are. I mean, it's not that high. It's $50, but I really was trying to do a show, and I would rather hire a camera person. So it was like a lot of things, just you know. So I ended up deciding not to do it. Today was the most expensive day. Today is, I think, Waka Flocka is performing, but tomorrow I think it's just a regular. So I don't think it's expensive tomorrow. So I don't know. I'm probably not going to change my mind. Like, I could not sleep today, man. I mean, it was just driving me crazy. And I had a really weird dream about one of my exes. It's like, I mean, it's kind of crazy when I think about um, love and romance. It just feels like it's something that just happened a lifetime ago. I mean, it really has been a long time since I went on a real date, and I don't know. I guess I do think about it sometimes, but it's not something I really have time to dwell upon because I think I'm just too busy trying to survive. Just focusing on projects. I mean, I got my comic books, I got my cartoon I'm working on. I'm about to go into production on my film. Um, it's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I've been trying to spend more time with family, trying to be more involved in you know, because people are getting older, so it's important. Your family. When your mother and your father are getting up in the years, it becomes more and more important to spend as much time with them as possible. Give them their flowers while they're here, as they say. Um, when I first came to LA, I think I just really had to deal with you know figuring out who I was and all that. And next thing I know, 20 years are going by. So in some ways, I feel like I gotta catch up. A lot of stuff has happened with family, and I remember when I was a kid, we used to have family reunions, and we used to everybody used to go to these things, and now everybody's in, people are adults and have families and more responsibilities, and it's not always easy to to spend time with your family, but it's important to make that time while they're still here. you know, there's no point in going to a funeral and like falling out and being all dramatic, and then when they were here, you didn't even really spend time with them. So that's uh, that's reality, and so I want to do more traveling this year too. So I got a lot of things that I want to do in my life, a lot of things that I need to accomplish, and a lot of goals. I have dreams, and I guess everybody does. I would like to believe that, but I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I'm being a little candid, but I don't really see myself really trying to date or have a relationship probably for at least another few years. But I can actually afford to slow down. 'Cause I can't really do that. I can't focus on anything else. Anything that's gonna like, uh, you know, possibly derail me or take my attention away. Because I really, and I know I said before about family trying to play catch up for years, lost. But I feel like I wish I'd been more serious, like I am now, about my comic books and my art, all these different things. Now I'm 56 years old. Well, I'm gonna be 56 in August, and I'm just still, I feel like I'm just now really, starting to get serious about all these things and just becoming more responsible. So right now, I got to focus on my film. I got to do a Kickstarter campaign. I got to start working on that tonight. I had actually started working on the script like a year ago. And, with scripts, you always have rewrites. And I had a lot of issues, a lot of things that I want to change. I've got a 2-page short story that's actually going to be a scene from the film itself. So, what I may do is release this as a short film, get the money to do that and present that. And I'm also doing a comic book version of this film. So that will help me to promote it so I can go to film festivals, conventions, and things. I will probably just give away some copies of the book, just to build a buzz and to generate, I think it is good when companies do that too. Some movies do comic book tie-ins. Um, so I want to do that with Sons of Legend. And Sons of Legend actually is very dear to my heart. It was something that I started back in like 2008 on YouTube. Sons of Legend was a web series I did, and then there was a spin-off called Dragon Manx, which featured me actually acting as a character. Then there was Sins of Legend, which are supervillains who are